Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitatvameva Ameva Bandhusya Sakhatvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Namadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Vedanta Sangraha of Sri Ramaraya Kavi, and we are doing the first chapter, which is essentially Drishya Prapancham, talks about the whole world that can be seen. And in that we are taking the first paragraph, and there he is defining there are two things in the world, in the universe. One is the seer and the seen. Druk Drishyam iti ched dvau padarthau. There are two objects or two entities, you shouldn't say objects, two entities, and one is the seer, another is the seen. So he's defining the whole thing. What are they? Two things only. So reduce the whole thing into two, and that's why Dvaita means. And says one is Chit, another is Achit. This is you call it seer, seen, Druk and Drishyam, and also called the Chit, and one is conscious entity, another unconscious entity. And also Jnanam, Jadam. One is a known and knowledge, and another is the unconscious matter. And Vyavaharanti, and the Chit or Druk, the seer, is for Prakasham. So he is not an object for seeing. He himself sees, but he cannot be seen, but he is already known. This is self-knowledge, and that's called Saprakasham. So he is not an object for a knowledge of something else through a pramana, but he is aprameyam. That's what he implies here, and we'll do that now. And it illumines everything else. So everything is known because of him, but itself need not be known because it is self-revealing entity. So this is called the avabhasakatvam, is a lakshanam of a seer. This is self-shining, and also because of him everything else is same. And jneyatvam drusyasya lakshanam. So there are two things. One is the seer, druk, and drusyam. Now he's defining drusyam is jneyatvam as a part of the definition of drusyam. That's what we will analyze now. Drusyam means that which can be seen, and here he calls it jneyatvam, that which is knowable. Jneyatvam is knowability. So the one that is seen, it has a seeability. So that means it can be seen through by some means. So the capacity capacity for it to be known is called knowability, and it has a capacity to be known. How does it have the capacity to know? Means it has the properties. That's what the implication is here is. It has an attributes, and through attributes it can be known. So knowability involves that it has the attributes, and attributes are the qualities. That's what is essentially we are talking about now. Now what are the qualities? Our qualities are that which are measurable or detectable and by the senses. So what are the qualities? Oh, it has certain blah blah qualities. What is blah blah quality? I don't know what is blah blah quality. So blah blah quality has to fall in the 5 categories. Is it something to see or something to hear? So it is Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So it should fall into these 5, because I can only know whether it is a blah blah quantity or not through these 5 senses have to operate on it. If it is not part of objects for the 5 senses, then that quality is not knowable through the senses at least. So you have to be careful here. Says the Drusyatvam, knowability is first come down to, for pratyaksha pramana, knowability means involves, it has to have through 5 senses, it should be able to, one should be able to know. That's what is essentially knowability here means. That's the first one. So, para pratyaksha pramana, for the sense to operate, and it should be attributive content which senses can measure. Matra susparsesya. With the matra means with through senses, it can be measured through the senses. That's what the whole object should be. So whether it should fall under, it can be seen or it can be heard, and sabda sparsa, it should have a form. Sabda sparsa, it can be touched and it can have form. Sabda sparsa rupa, rasa, it should have a taste, and gandha, it should have a smell. Sabda sparsa rupa rasa gandha. These are the 5, the attributive content, and the 5 senses can grasp. So it can have combination of this and varieties in that. So it is a sweet, but in the sweet, is it sweet like this? No, it's not that sweet. Is it sweet something like that? So you have a scale of sweetness also in the sweet. All are sweet, but there is a scale of sweetness. It's very sweet. Oh, it's a little bit sweet. All those things are all within the sweetness itself, a scale you can plot by experiencer. And same way, all I can hear a little bit, not too much, or it's too loud to hear, or too soft to hear, or all those hearing, the trends in the hearing also, there's a scale in that. Similarly, the sabda sparsa rupa rasa gandha, all attributes have a degree of variability that I can judge. So I have combination of these other properties. This is exactly how we identify, even in a chemistry lab, what are its properties. From the properties, it can be identified what that object is. So number 1, the knowability involves, number 1, it should have the properties that can be sensed by senses. And of course, the senses work depending upon the capability of the senses also, but across the board, I may not be able to see because my sense of sight is not working, but other persons should be able to see. And that's what the product is. Like X-rays, I don't know if you know X-rays. So he was trying to find out X-rays and couldn't see X-rays because that's not within the realm of vision spectrum. At the same time, he found out that fellow who discovered the X-rays and found out that it is affecting the film. Therefore, there are some rays, and therefore he can deduce and call them X-rays. X-rays means we don't know what it is. That's why he solved for X. So he called it X-rays, and that's how the X-rays came into picture also. So, but its effect is seen in some way, and therefore he can deduce that there are X-rays there. And here we are talking about within the visible spectra of where visibility comes into, and within my sense of taste, a taste comes into. So the one who is knower, the knowability should have it but object should have knowability. It can be known by this. It can be heard, it can be tasted, it can be seen, or it can have smell from which I can say what it is. And all that is essentially a property-based objects. And object is defined as, it has a property, number 1. Number 2, its property should differ from the other object properties. Otherwise, I won't know whether this and all are same. So I should have a property that differentiates the object from the rest of the objects in the world. So that should be the intrinsic property of that separates that object from the rest of the objects. Then I can identify that object. So if I ask you, go to other room to see if there's any pot. So there are a lot of pots there. Go and see other room to see if there's a red pot there. So I'm now for many parts, identifying one part or a series of parts that are red in color and not any other ones. So it says, yeah, there are many red parts also, and there are few red parts and the rest are all black parts. So there are some red parts, but not one, but many also. And then I had to send him back, say, do you have a red part of this size and this shape and all that? Then he will find out and go back, yes, there is a part that meets these attributes. So I'm defining a part, not only a part, a form, and also a color of it, that is red, and also its size, shape and all that. So additional attributes are provided to differentiate all other parts in the room. And that's what essentially it's Swarupa Lakshanam in a way. They are indicatory definitions for that. And these are called attributive knowledge. So here we are bringing in the statement, the Swaprakashatve sati, so itara sarva avabhasakatvam drusho lakshanam. It not only knows itself, but it reveals itself, the other ones. That means the other one should have a knowability, but just because it has knowability, I need to know it. So there has to, subject and object have to come together, and then I can say that I can see a chair there. There may be some chair there or table in the other room or not. No one knows what it is. Then the existence of that object is not established. Says, in the other room, is there a table in the other room? So if nobody has gone there and seen, now everybody say, I don't know, we don't know. There may be there, it may not be there. And you go there and says, there's no table there. So if there's no table there, how can you see? Say, why? I am seeing there's no table there. So you're seeing the absence of table. Not that there is a table for you to see, you are seeing the absence of table. That because you know what a table looks like, and you are looking for an object with the properties of the generic properties of the table, and find that there is no object with those attributes, and therefore you come back and tell me that there is no table. That means you have prior knowledge of what table looks like, and prior knowledge of the attributes, dominant attributes of a table, which is different from a chair. So you can go and distinguish that there is or there is not a table. If you go and see if there is a gaga boo in the other room, and say, you cannot go and see. Say, I don't know what is gaga boo. What is gaga boo? I have to give you some attributive content of gaga boo for you go and see whether there is any object with those attributes. And that's what essentially. So when you go say, I don't know who is Ramaraya, and say, you go and please bring Ramaraya. Go to the train station and bring Ramaraya. So how does Ramaraya looks like? Oh, Rama looks like, I have to give him attributes of Ramaraya, and he is 6 feet tall. So you eliminate all other people who are not 6 feet tall or not Ramarayas. So you have some, and there may be many people who are 6 feet tall. He is very fat, so you eliminate all the thin people who are 6 feet. And he has a mustache. Now you eliminate so many other people other than who is 6 feet and a fat and a mustache. All those process of exclusion, and slowly zero in on type of a person that you're looking for. And when you go there, and if you find someone, you ask, confirm, is it Mr. Ramaraya or not? No, I'm Subbarao. Then you have to go look for another person who is 6 feet tall with the fat and mustache and so on and so forth, who is not a Subbarao but Ramaraya. So this is a process of mutual, by exclusion and identification comes into picture using the attributes. That's what a chemist is doing in the lab, trying to find out what this object is. It should have a color, taste. You don't taste, you're not supposed to taste it because it may be poisonous. So you have a, does it dissolve in water, or is it a compound that can be dissolvable in water, or there is a flame test, all those tests. What happens if you add little liquid nitrogen, or all those properties? We used to do all that in the chemistry lab, trying to find out the identification of a substance. This is using the properties by process of eliminating things and zeroing in terms of using the properties. So here we are looking at the drishyam should have a property that can be measurable through via senses one way or the other. So I may not see, but flammability, when I try to burn it, it should if it is a red color, maybe it's a strontium is there, or if it's not red color, if it is some other color, then certain elements give certain colors. We have that element is there in that, and so on and so forth. That's how I try to identify what is the elements, what is the compound, and so on. So that's why here the drishyatvam he defines the scene is Nyeyatvam Drishyasya Lakshanam. He is very careful here. He says Nyeyatvam is the Drishyasya Lakshanam. The property of Lakshanam, the indicated definition of what is seen is it can be seen. It is a seeable entity. It is what can be known. It is a knowable entity. It's an object of knowledge. Essentially, it's an object of knowledge. And in Sanskrit, it's called prameyam. Prameyam means it is knowable. It is a quantity that can be known. That's called prameyam. But to know it, we need a pramana. So we need a pramana is a means of knowledge. And we have to have pramata. Pramata is the knower. That's what is druk, he defined. So he says there is a pramata and a prameyam, and that's what the prapancham is. But in between the relation, the two things are come into contact via pramanam, via a means of knowledge. If there is an object there, I have to open my eyes and see the object. So seeing becomes a pramana for me to know the object is there. And how do I know? See, by opening my eyes. Does it will help? And it will help provided I have the vision. I have a sight of vision is there. If I am blind, I open my eyes, but I cannot see. So besides the golakam is the eyeball, and I need a sense of sight should be operating. As one gets older, the sense of sight is getting withdrawn. That means the capacity of the instruments needed to see are not working properly. That's what it means. So it is the capacity withdrawn. He cannot see anymore. That only means that the instruments are not operating properly to the capacity to give that to communicate between the pramata and prameyam. Pramata is a knower, druk and drishyam, and druk and drishyam have to be brought in through a pramana, a means of knowledge. So for the objects outside, there is a five senses, Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So if it is an object to taste, say this is a laddu. What do you mean laddu? Say laddu is a sweet. What do you mean by sweet? I don't know what is sweet means. What does that mean? So he says put some laddu in his mouth and says, do you see some? That taste that you are getting is sweet, and laddu has the property, and therefore it is sweet. So if you think all that have property, you put some chili powder on his mouth and then say, is it sweet? No, this is not. This is burning. I don't like it. That is hot. This is sweet. Now I am differentiating what is sweet and what is hot. But we go through this in the process without knowledge, but this is exactly what is implied. A particular sense is required in order to know the particular property of the object. For seeing forms and colors, I need eyes as the pramana. For that, eyesight is a pramana because I need eyes. Then behind the eyes, I need to have eyesight. That means the faculty of seeing has to be there also, functioning to its maximum capacity, a 20/20 vision. All that is instruments that are required, a pramana to bring prameyam, the object, to pramata, druk, drishyam to druk, because he says the property of the druk is it can illumine. Illumine means it can know an object that is knowable. So I can know is object if it is the capacity is there with me. If that depends, of course, in the case of prapancham, in the case of this objective world, it depends upon my senses also, because I have to gather the information via senses. But if senses are defective, it's not the problem with the drusyam, it's not the problem with the duk, but it's a problem with the instruments that connects these two. The pramanam are not operating properly. So it has to have appropriate conditions for the pramanam to operate. For me to see, I need a light to see, number one. Because without the light, I cannot see. It's too dark, I cannot see. And the same time, I should have proper vision. That means I should have the instrument of seeing also should be there. Sense of sight should be functioning. And sense of sight should be functioning via my golakam, and also the instruments and all other things have to be functioning. And behind that, I need to have a mind to see. So senses, the mind, and the mind itself is inert. I need to have consciousness that is behind the mind. This is called druk drusya viveka. And this is talking about druk and drusyam. And Vidyaranya Swami has written a book called Druk Drusya Viveka. Who is the seer and the seen? And that's exactly after reading Panchadasi, Ramaraya Kavi talks about, obviously, starts with Druk Drusyam only, and this is what is a property of the seer and the seen, Druk and Drusyam, brought through via Pramana. And Pramana operates as long as these appropriate conditions are fulfilled for the Pramana to operate. So that's why a sense of sight should be there, and the sight should be proper, and the mind should be behind it, and of course consciousness is always behind the mind. So as long as the mind is awakened, it is illumined, and through mind I can know the things using senses there. And the Vedantic approach of this is, we discuss as a Mimamsa position, which is also Advaita position, is senses and the mind go out and grasp the object, and the senses measure the attributes of the object, and that attributive content forms a vritti in the mind, that is called a thought, and the vritti has to be illumined by druk, which is a knower, conscious entity. That is how it illumines, and that's why he said the capacity to illumine is a property of the druk, seer. So seer illumines the property so that the object can be revealed, and that's how the definition of the druk also says, the itara sarva avabhasakatvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. It illumines everything else. So knowability is there an object, but I should know it. How? By bringing contact with me. There is some object somewhere in the universe that I don't know, and it may have the knowability, but it's not in my in my range of my senses, and therefore it cannot be known. So it may be there, may not be there. If you tell it is there, I should have faith in your words for me to know that it is there. That's called only indirect knowledge. Direct knowledge is, I can see, therefore it is there. That's called eyewitness account. So I had to see myself to know that it is there. And that is called the direct perceptual knowledge. It operates within the realm of the senses. So eyesight, I can only see up to some capacity of seeing is up to some distance I can see. I cannot see if it is too far away. I cannot see if it is too small. I cannot see all these things, the microscopic things I can see. I need a proper instrument to upgrade or enhance my seeing capacity. For a distance I need a telescope. For very fine things I need a microscope, and depending upon the size of it, I need appropriate microscopes in order for me to see. So all these are instrumentations, and that brings the druk and drusyam together. So we have here not only two things, but in between the connecting things which are called pramana. Pramana is means of knowledge. For senses, I need a sense input, so it's called the sense-based knowledge. Pratyaksha pramanam, direct perceptual knowledge, is via through senses. Then there is also the knowledge that can take place not via senses, and that is essentially internal perceptions. Other things are called external perceptions, because the outside world, I need the means of knowledge is the senses. But for internal perceptions, then I need a logical anumana pramana can bring it. So if I am discussing about the quantum mechanics, there is nothing to see other than if I write something on the board, I'll say alpha, gamma, delta, only some Greek letters there. But for those who are trained to think conceptually, that means essentially it means something for them. So they can zero in what exactly that is. And that is not through via senses, but through jnanendriyas, that is called through the, not even jnanendriya, through the beyond sense input, through the knowledge of what the conceptualized knowledge. And there used to be Aldous Huxley, a great biologist, and he defines in the Darwin evolution theory, he says the evolution in one particular direction stops when there is a big modifications in the direction. So there is reptiles and all that, and comes to the birds, and in that you cannot, evolution stops in that going further once there is a modification. Modification is the four hands, the two hands become wings, and that modification itself is stops. You may have more and more and better birds, like up to Garuda. Beyond that it cannot go. And in the vertebrates, you say mammalian, it comes, and in that man has evolved. And what a further evolution? What is higher than man? There cannot be higher than man, because evolution stops there. At that level, an anatomical evolution is not there, because man has developed a conceptual thought. That's what he says. So with the conceptual thought, the evolution in the mind is stopped there. Only now, in the evolution of the conceptual thought, then you have to go to higher only. That's how a God-man comes in, from the man itself, by contemplation of what exactly is the truth. That capacity to investigate is given to a man. So says the definition between a man and an animal: ahara nidra bhayamaitunancha samanyametat pasubhin naranam buddhiriyetesha adhiko visheshaha buddhya vihinaha pasubhi samanaha. Aharam, nidra, all those things are common for man and animal. So how is he different? Buddhi tesha adhiko vishesha. Only intellect is given for a man. Intellectual means comprehensive thinking, conceptual thought, as Aldous Huxley puts it. That capacity to think is given to man. But that has to be developed by proper thinking. So a lot of people study, but they don't know how to think. And they only learn what to think. How to think is also a scientific inquiry of not just thinking, but also how to question properly also is a great art also. In science, you progress only if you know how to ask the proper questions. Then the ideas will come. I don't know, what does it mean? If you start asking questions, then buddhi will try to go in the direction to answer that question, find a way you can find the answer, or contemplate in the direction. And what exactly is the universe? How did it create from? That's how the great scientists of the Vedantic teachers, Vedantic inquirers, try to find out what exactly, and as they contemplate, truth gets revealed to them. It's revelation, and therefore they call it, if the truth is we got the revelation, that means we are called Veda Drashtas. Vedas, they didn't discompose it, it got revealed to them, which they passed on to their disciples, and that's what is called Shruti, and that's why it's called the Apaurusheyam. The rishis did not compose it, it's only revealed to them. And same thing happens to a scientist also. As he contemplates on that, truth gets revealed to him, because Saraswati has to come down when you pray in the direction. And a scientist claims that I discovered it, whereas the Vedantic scientist says, it is revealed to me, I am blessed with that. So Vishwamitra, the Gayatri mantra is revealed to him, not that he wrote it. So it's revealed to him. That's what the Veda Drashtas means. Anyway, so Druk Drishyam, we are still defining the first paragraph, and the definition of Druk and definition of Drishyam, and we brought in Pramana as a means of connecting the Druk and Drishyam. So you need a Pramana, and he says the seer, you don't need any Pramana, it is Swaprakashatvam. He shines, illumines by himself, that means no Pramana is need to operate, it is self-revealing. That's why he called Aprameyam. Everything else is Prameyam, only object which comes under Drishyam, and that's how here the teacher says Nyayatvam Drishyam. Knowability is the property of the objects, and that's what is called Lakshanam. With that, we finish the first paragraph of the Drishya Prapancham. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.